Hello everyone and welcome to Season of AI. And today we are excited to have Kshitiz Kalra sir with us, who will be delivering a powerful session on MCP. So if you are looking to stay ahead in the world of MCP, this is a session you won't wanna miss. So without any further delay, I would like to invite Kshitiz sir to take us on this exciting journey of MCP.
Hello, everyone. First of all, season's greeting to each one of you and your families. I know, it's 31st of December, and you are here just to learn about MCP. So, yeah, thank you for the effort that you are putting in, and I'll make sure that you will, take some good knowledge from this session. So, without any delay, let's get started. So first of all, I'll introduce myself. So, I am Kshitiz. I am working in Microsoft currently as a cloud and AI consultant for Americas and Asia region. And I do not think me like I am very old or a veteran in the industry. So I uh, just graduated in 2020, and then I was a college hire at Microsoft. So in total, as of now, like I have around 5.5 years of experience, and then doing this AI and agentic AI since past 1 year or so. So yes, so this would be the agenda for our session. So we'll start with like welcome of you, of all of you, and then the goals. Uh, what MCP is, why did it came into existence, what is the need, then the core concepts of MCP, the architecture, the protocol, how it works. Then also I'll be giving a live demo on how you can set up your own MCP servers and use it. And then we'll have a Q&A. So yeah, have your questions ready. I'll be happy to answer them. Uh, Regarding the timing, so yeah, though this is a 1 hour session, I'll try to wrap up as soon as possible so that we get immense time for the Q&A section. And even if we are not getting a lot of time for Q&A, if you have any queries regarding anything technical, then yes, you can reach out to me after the session as well. I'll be sharing with you the details. So, before starting, let's understand what is meant by agentic coding. We have came across the topics as vibe coding. People just prompt and then the agent and their IDs do some magic and they get their solutions ready. So we have seen kind of massive shift in the AI assisted coding space over the past few months, or I can say now nearly a year. Previously, we could interact with clients like GitHub Copilot. We used to ask the queries. It used to return us some response. We used to copy that code snippet and paste it in the IDE. It used to work like that. But now with the help of agentic AI, or agentic coding, so now in VS Code or Visual Studio or any of the good IDs, we have agent mode. I'm not sure how many of you have used it, seen some videos, have a hands-on experience, but let me tell you, this is a massive shift, and this is the future. This is a very powerful tool. So now when you ask your agent for assistant with something, it plans, it executes, it do some multi-step thinking kind of a thing, and then it automatically modifies your code with your permissions. It can write the commands in your terminal and sees the output. And again, if you get some kind of error, for example, you are developing a .NET application and you ask the agent, okay, I need this. So agent will develop the application for you. It will tell you that you can run this application using this commands, or if you need, the agent can also run the command by itself. And once the command is executed, agent can also see the output. So let's say the solution is ready, and now it's a build command, and build command fail. So agent automatically sees that error. It modifies your code files to resolve that error, and then retries it again. So yeah, it's a very, I would say, massive shift and amazing concept. But like the yeah, this alone is powerful, but there is some piece which is still missing, like the real time context. How we can make the copilot aware of our external databases. Let's say we are talking to external databases or some external systems which have exposed their APIs tools. We want the copilot to be aware of all these things, not just its own knowledge. So how we can show, so let's say you are in some GitHub repo. There are some in the GitHub you have issues section, you have discussions tab. So how we can kind of show our co-pilot to be aware of the issues with that particular NuGet package or a node module, whatever you're using, and then how it can address it, or how it can help in creating a PR for the same. So all these things were missing from this part. Like, so there, that is where this MCP came into existence. Right. So moving on to the next slide. So, yeah, in this section of my presentation, we will be understanding MCP and its importance, the what was the problem. So, I just gave you an example of a agentic AI agent, and how that missing piece of information can fill in the gap, right? So think of it as like the problem was each apps talks to a number of systems and number of third party, first party, second party system differently. We have plugins, we have SDKs, we have custom authorization policies, we have different ways of calling each of the endpoint. Now, MCP was the answer to all these kinds of problems. So it's a kind of universal protocol, so that AI applications that you're developing or which are being developed as we speak, these applications can discover tools, resources on their own. Right. So think of this MCP as a universal adapter kind of a thing. You can just it follows a standard protocol, and it can discover tools, it can discover resources on its own, and then also it can call them or invoke them. Um, Everyday example, like let's say you are developing some retail assistant for a shop near to your place, right? So it would that retail assistant would need an exposure to product catalog. It would also need an exposure to some mechanism where it can check the inventory or the stock, and then another tool or another module to draft an order, or maybe send it for approval, kind of that. So it will communicate with different, like three different APIs, right? Each will have its own input parameters, output parameters, right? So with the help of MCP, we have standardized this process of having different inputs, different outputs for each of the API. So it's now one very standard piece of protocol which AI agents understands. They get the exposure to resources, they get the exposure to tools, and they understand that when to use which tool, instead of we explicitly hard coding that if the endpoint is hitting this one, then you have to redirect it to this. So now with the help of the tool name or the tool description, it automatically understands. Okay. So what benefit we get? So we get like fewer connectors, simpler audits, portable components, right? It can be portable servers which can be incorporated into various clients, for example, VS Code, Cursor, Cloud, Visual Studio, and whatnot. So then there is one more important thing when not to use MCP. So if you only need a full in private in process function to call inside just a one app, you are not communicating with a lot of things outside your the code that you are writing. Then yeah, MCP doesn't make any sense for that. You continue calling your functions using traditional way, like in C sharp, Java, JavaScript. So if all the things are within your code, then this MCP will make very less difference, or it will offer you very less benefit. So it's only important when you have a number of things to call and you have the interaction with the outside solution or the outside system. Correct. Now, before diving again, before, let's say, for deep diving into the core concepts of MCP, let's clarify some key terms. So I know, many people are confused. What is AI? What is agent? What is ML? What is agentic AI? All of them looks very similar, but let me tell you, they are very different. So each of them serves a very different purpose. So an AI agent is an let's say AI driven assistant, often backed by a LLM, that responds to the natural language prompts. So for example, that GitHub Copilot chat. Okay, so or the agent mode is a very good use case. So it reads the questions which the user puts it in the chat, uh, then it performs the task and answer on what it knows. However, uh, what it knows can be, sometimes we get some thing which is not very relevant to us, because that's AI, that response is coming from LLM, right? It might give you some suggestion of a command or a tool which might be in beta, or which is kind of replicated. So that is where the MCP server comes in. So how does an AI agent work with an MCP server? So this client connects with the server. uh, then user ports a message. The LLM, which is backing your agent, extracts the intent, extracts the emotion, and extracts these basic properties from that message. Agent sends the question to MCP server. MCP server responds with the data. Then again, LLM refines that particular response and then shares the result with an end user. So yes, this is what an responsibility of a AI agent, and then how it calls the MCP server and how it talks to your MCP server. Okay, so developers have been making solutions to interact with different uh, like interact with n number of systems, n number of tools with external interaction capabilities. But every new integrations comes with its own challenges, its own custom implementation, which often lead to n number of protocols, n number of custom extensions and plugins. This increases maintenance, security, and performance risk. It was very difficult to scale, or they had their own maintenance challenges. So for example, if you are developing an app and you want to connect different data sources or services, right? So what you would need and install several extensions, open several web pages, or build an altogether a new custom solution. Or if your company has a bunch of different data sources that is managed by different teams, they all may be implementing external data integrations differently. Like the example I took, each one has its own custom authentication implementations, or maybe different way. Some might be accepting some parameters in body, some might take it from the actual query parameter. So no, it in the end it leads to confusion. It leads to redundancy. So that is where the need of this MCP, or the standard model context protocol, came in. So as you can see in the diagram, we have the clients over here, and they are interacting with a number of data sources, again using uh, their different custom implementations. So here was the integration chaos, and after MCP, it all became kind of a very standard way. So all of them can use the MCP server, which is kind of created once and can be consumed in all of your clients. Now, why MCP matters in an integration, right? So we saw that. So for example, there are n number of clients, and uh, let's say XYZ number of your integrations or the external sources. So then it would be n multiplied by XYZ, that number of connections you would need to manage, right? That number of custom implementations you would need to manage. So now it would be 1 into n. So with the MCP, that n into XYZ just remains n. So you will just have that standardized protocol, and it will seamlessly connect between your AI model and external users through only one universal protocol, right? So it's like build one server and then reuse it with multiple clients or multiple vendors, multiple hosts. Then coming on to the security aspect. So yes, it's very capable. It discovers type schemas, explicit approvals for side effects. So uh, let's say you have an MCP, your client wants to call it. So you have the control. So human always remains in the loop when it comes to these AI world, right? So you get an option to allow your client to call that particular MCP tool or not. If you deny, then that MCP tool will not be called. If you approve, so this approval and denial comes in your client itself. So for example, in your GCP Copilot, right, you have one custom MCP integration, and as soon as you click on, as soon as put some query uh, related to that particular MCP server, it will ask you that yes, I found this MCP server which might help answer your question. Should I call this tool? If you click on approve, then only the request will go there. Otherwise, it will be answered by the other generic MCP servers. So yes, that is one thing on the security. Then coming to the maintenance, so it's like one place to version, test, and harden your tools and resources. For example, you can think of a travel planner hitting flights, hotels, and maps, right? HR bot can reuse the integrations, which is like the employee database, employee financials, or you can think of payrolls and everything. So yes, I mean it's a kind of universal way of uh, letting your client to connect with the server. So you just have to create a server once, and it could be utilized in any of your clients which supports the MCP functionality, right? So yeah, now coming to the core concepts. Okay, so we have core concepts. Then we'll be discussing on the uh, again some of the MCP tools, the protocols, what all it uses, how does it establish connections with the client, and in the end we'll also a few demos on how you can build your MCP server, how I built my MCP server, how you can run it locally, how you can integrate it with your VS Code, GitHub Copilot. So yes, So tools in the MCP server. So these are executable functions. So it's a very simple concept. So all of you know what function is, right? You write function different languages. So now how to convert it to MCP tool? So it's a very straightforward. You just import some libraries, you put annotations, and it nothing else. It automatically gets converted to a tool, MCP tool, right? So yeah, so these are basically functions with the typed input and output. For example, create leave request could be one tool. It will return some structured content, text, URI, JSONs. So yes, so in the end, tools are nothing but the functions that you want to call, right? Then we have the resources. So think of resources as a read-only data exposed via API responses, or you can have some database integration. So basically, they are just the read-only components of your solution, right? Then you have the third thing, which is as prompts. So we all do prompting in daily life. So prompts could be as simple as tell me a command to initialize a .NET solution, right? So this whole statement qualifies for a prompt. So in terms of MCP, you can have such predefined statements. So for example, in my demo, I'll show you a MCP server for a restaurant management or a hospitality, right? So in that, I have functions to kind of create a new restaurant, add a new restaurant, or just add a new visit to a restaurant. So now I can define some reusable prompts so that my end user need not write these statements again and again. Instead, they can just select that particular prompt, and it will automatically copied in their chat window, right? So yeah, prompts are nothing but the some predefined statements which makes the life of end user easier. They need not write those things again. They can just click on or select a prompt, and it will automatically get copied, right? Then coming to schema. So schemas are like validate inputs, reject bad types, handle error consist they are kind of error handling mechanisms, right? We also do have content types. So it's for like preferring the structured payload so that clients can render safely. Then we also have concepts of versioning and changing when so let's say version v point uh, v 1.0 accepts a particular kind of a schema, right? And next version can come in, right? If you want to change a schema, if someone wants to use the previous schema, then again they can give the version and continue using the same. So yes, we now understand what all are some of the concepts of MCPs, how they interact with the AI agent, what does agentic AI means. Now, in this section, we will define what host, client, and server is, and then how they transport the data among each other, how the client how the client calls these MCP servers, what are the basic steps required, what is the protocol involved, and all those things. Okay, yeah. So there are three main parts of MCP. The first one is host. So what is a host and what is the responsibility of a host, right? So think of host as an AI application that manages your user session and the UX which gets rendered on your screen. Uh, Responsibilities also includes spawning or invoking the client. Okay, show tool discovery. So let's say your MCP server has 5 tools. So this client will go and discover what those 5 tools are. right? Also, it presents approvals, right? As I was speaking, or as I was discussing in that security module, right? Security part of the MCP concept. So, yeah, presenting the approval to the end user is also responsibility of an host, right? Then, maintaining that session history or maintaining that thread and everything. So, all the things that you see on your screen happening is a kind of responsibility of the host. Coming to next part, what isn't client? So yeah, think of for host. So there are a few logos that you see on my screen, right? So it's VS Code. Then you can see the next logos of Visual Studio. Then we have something as Foundries and everything. So uh, host is all those kind of applications. Now, what is a client, and what are the responsibilities of the client, right? Also, sometimes host and clients can be same. So that is where you see some of the logos are repeated, right? So a client establishes one-to-one connection instance implementing the JSON RPC protocol. So what is it? We'll understand more about it in the upcoming slides. So, the responsibilities of these clients include initializing the handshake. So, what does this initializing handshake with MCP server mean? So, it means that, so let's say, again, I'll go back to my example of the tools and the prompts. So, let's say you create your own MCP server, it has 5 tools, 3 prompts. So this client, this guy, will call your MCP server. It will hit the endpoint tools slash list for discovering the tools. Then it will also hit prompts slash list. So these are the standard endpoints which all the MCP servers follow, right? To get the list of prompts. Then if it has tied to any of the resources, it will let resources read and so on and so forth. It handles the notifications coming from the MCP server. So, for example, if you have a connection established and maybe due to any kind of network issue, that connection gets timed out or that connection or your token gets expired. So, you will get a notification, right? That the session is now disconnected or any kind of error if editing from the MCP server. So this client handles those notification timeout messages, and it also serializes the JSON RPC messages, and basically it maintains that one-to-one connection with your server. Now coming to the third and most important part, what is a server in MCP? So think of server as a kind of lightweight programs that each expose specific capabilities through standard MCP protocol. You can build your own server, or you can use one of the many servers that already in the market. So if I so these servers are kind of free to consume, so you can think of Microsoft how just Bing, go open your Edge and Bing like how I can consume Microsoft Learn server. So it will give you one API and structure which you can put it in your code and start using Microsoft Learn server. So what benefit you get? So using Microsoft Learn server, so it exposes all the learn artifacts, documents, the examples that you see on the Microsoft Learn website. And so after integrating, if you like query on your client, then you can see the responses are more accurate and meaningful, because until and unless you integrate the learn documentation, it will return the responses based on its general knowledge, based on LLM's general knowledge. But once you do this Microsoft Learn integration, you will start getting your answers to the technical queries which are related to our products from that MCP server. Similarly, we have GitHub servers, we have Dataverse servers, yeah, and most of them are free to consume. So yes, I mean, either you can build your own, you can if it's for a specialized purpose, or you can consume. It's up to you. So your program will expose, or the server that you will build will expose tools, resources, prompts via an SDK. Okay, the responsibilities of that will include the validation of the schema, execution of the handlers, and enforcements of any policies that you have. For example, you can directly connect to your database and analyze schemes, pull in information from a GitHub repo such as issues and pull requests, then automate end-to-end testing using the other set of tools, and or you can even, like, instead of reusing, if you can also build your own server with the help of the SDK. So SDKs are available for almost all the languages that we generally use: Python, C Sharp. Then you have JavaScript, Java. So every language now has a SDK for MCP server. So yes, so these are the main components of MCP, and next let's learn how this protocol flow works. So I already gave you a hint. Okay, this client do this, it calls that particular endpoint, but in theoretical, what happens? So we'll understand in this particular slide. So first is the initialization. Okay, so client initializes the instance, and it creates that one-to-one connection, and it gets to know in return that, okay, these are the capabilities of my server. These are the things which it supports, these are the prompts which it supports. It has these tools. Each tool comes with its own description. We'll see in the demo how that looks like and how to add a description to it. So basically, it uses those endpoints, which I just talked about: tools slash list, resources slash list, prompt slash list, to get the capabilities of the server, and it enumerates on that response, and then it catches that response and holds it, so that this gets incorporated into its own knowledge, in the client's knowledge, so that next time when a user query comes, knows that, okay, these are the set of tools, these are the resources, this would be the best as per the query, let's execute this tool, right? So yes, it calls that tool slash call endpoint with validated arguments and return the structured content. It also notifies, if there is some change happening on the server, it notifies, let's change, progress updates. Uh, it Then we have that error handling concept which I spoke about in my previous slides. We also have the notification time, so sometimes the connection timed out, and all those notifications are there. And yeah, and it also kind of, sometimes you see that response gets loaded in a single go, sometimes you see that stream is kind of happening. So it also supports that preferred streaming wherever supported, it's known as SSC, right? So yeah, now we are aware why we initially we started with what's the need of MCP server, how things used to work before MCP server was came into existence. Then we talk about the AI agents, how they use MCP server, then the core components of the MCP server, the protocol, and now it's the time to kind of to learn how we can create a MCP server, and then now we can use it in the text editor. So yeah, as a part of this session, I have some things already set up. First, I'll make you walk through the steps on how you can create your own MCP servers on the the steps which I use to create these demos for you, and then we'll once we do all these things, I'll show you how a live custom MCP server created and in action, how the client calls those endpoints, tool slash list, prompt slash list, and how it actually calls your tools and prompts, right? So just give me a minute. I'll just switch my screen. I am ready. Yeah, I hope you can see my screen now. So yeah, so basically, I followed a couple of documentation. Again, it comes from the Learn It. They are publicly available on GitHub for you to follow. And after this particular session, you can just go to these documentations and consume it. So I'll also share it in the PPTs which I will publish. Otherwise, you can just have a note of it. So it's github.com Microsoft. Let's learn MCP C sharp, right? So it will have the README for you to get started. So you can see, like, by end of this tutorial series, you will have a monkey app. So it's nothing but a .NET console application that uses existing MCP server to manage some data and create GitHub issues. Then it will also guide you on how you can create your own MCP server. So I created my MCP server using the same documentation. So we start with the prerequisites and the setup. For completion of this tutorial, you will need .NET SDK installed in your system. You need VS Code. You will need C sharp or development kit or the development setup. And then the next two three things we covered in this session, so you need not go through it. If you are very curious, then yes, you are free. Then we'll expand this part one setup. So yes, so I need these things. You will need a node environment, and you will also need a Docker desktop. So this Docker desktop, let me tell you, so this is the optional. Why optional? Because in the first exercise of for this tutorial, we are talking to a MCP server already existing and exposed via Docker. So in case if you want to use that same thing, then yes, Docker is required. But this is independent of exercise 2 and 3, where we will be building a custom MCP server. So in case, your laptop is doesn't have Docker desktop, or you do not have access to Docker desktop, then do not worry, you can still continue on the other parts of the lab, right? So this is only for the first exercise in this lab, where we kind of interact with the MCP server via Docker, right? So we already covered all these things, and this is the architecture overview, which again, I covered in my slides. Then some of the example use cases are listed over here. Now let's move to part two. Okay. In the part two of this particular tutorial, we get to know, how to use an existing MCP server that is via Docker. Okay. In case, again repeating the same, but do not worry if you have any challenge in installing Docker or using Docker. You can still continue with your lab, and you can still build your own MCP server. These are the steps to create that new console application, and then here you can see that particular thing, that Docker thing, right? So if I open my VS Code exercise 1, I will show you the same setup. Okay. So first I did that .NET console application command. It creates this my monkey app, and then in the mcp.json file, I added the exact same Docker command to talk to this particular server which already exists and exposed. Right, let's see what to do next. Again, this thing also I did. So the final mcp.json looks like this. Okay, after this, again, there are some optional steps. If you need, you can do it. I just show you some basic example, right? Okay, yeah, I mean, a lot of theory. It's good if you can go through each of them, but I think now we just have few minutes left, and then there would be Q&A as well. So I'll move to my VS Code. So first understand, what does this mcp.json means. So basically, if at all, in any of the scenario, even if develop your own MCP server, and if you want to test it on your local, if you want to expose it, so it is kind of, it's consumed via this mcp.json file on your client. So as soon as in the root, as soon as in the root folder you create this mcp.json file, you will start seeing these things, right? So this is the server, this is one server. Okay, this is another server. uh, then what is the URI? So some servers are exposed by URI, right? You can see type HTTP and URI this MCP. Some servers are exposed by Docker. You can see here, Docker, and then these are the arguments which process. Now, as soon as you initiate, or as soon as you create this file and put in these server configuration, your host and the client, which is VS Code, will automatically get the information that, okay, this server has 5 tools, 3 prompts, right? This server has 40 tools, 2 prompts. Now let's start one server and see. So you can see this particular server is now running. Okay, I'll just go to a new thread. Now this is my uh, GHCP that agent, right? GitHub Copilot agent. Now I want to, use some query so that it makes sure the answer will only come from this server and not general knowledge. So I will do this, give me the list of monkeys in a tabular format. So see, how it thought that, okay, the user wants to get a list of monkeys in tabular format. I can see there is a monkey MCP tool available. Let me call it to get the list of monkeys. So here is that approval mechanism, right? I talked about it during my security slide and then the concept slide. So this is the responsibility of my client to make sure to ask the the request initiator, which is human, which is myself in this particular demo, to allow or to uh, skip, right? So I'll say that okay, allow, you can use my monkey MCP server. So now see that it says run get monkey. So now what get monkeys is? So get monkeys is one of the function exposed as a MCP tool with the description that first of all, the name is very meaningful in this case. Sometimes we do not have meaningful names, which is not a very good practice. So we have to make sure description is very elaborate. When I say elaborate, that means it should enlist the actual purpose of that particular tool or that particular function, right? So it ran this get monkey. So I haven't specified which function I need to call or what I need to do, right? It automatically ran this function. It gets the output in this JSON array format, and then how it presents it to me in my tabular format. Okay, now let me just take one monkey name and I'll just query. I want to get the story of monkey named Squirrel Monkey. Yeah, so it thinks. How does it think? See this, the verbose that we are getting. So it thinks, it analyzes mind intent. The agent, the LLM agent backed by the LLM analyzes the tool. User wants to get the story journey of a monkey named Squirrel Monkey. I should use this particular tool, get monkey journey tool. Okay, so everything, this client is now aware of all the capabilities of your server. So again, it is asking me that should I run get monkey journey tool, which is on monkey MCP server, and should I pass in this particular input? So it is already aware what kind of input this get monkey journey accepts. Okay, I'll just click on allow. Yeah. So see, uh, now the output is coming from this particular tool, get monkey journey. Right. Now think of it in a bigger picture. So once someone has created monkey MC server once, now I can use it in any of my client, any of my IDs. I do not have to do any changes on my server. So that is that universal adapter. Think of it like your this type C charger. Okay, now every new phone, every good phone has that universal type C adapter, universal type C charger. So previously it used to be different pins, type B, type A. Then we have something different pin for Apple, and then for Pixel was supporting some different pin. But now it's a universal adapter, right? So think of the benefit on that scale. Now you need not have different connections, different implementations, different adapters. Now you create your MCP server once and can be consumed via any of your clients. So next, okay, 9 minutes we still have. So next, I will show you how you can create your own MCP server. So again, it's a part of that same documentation. If you scroll down, if you continue to part 3. So again, in this exercise, it has given the guidance to create a MCP server using C sharp. Again, we have another exercise or another URL, which is like let's learn MCP JavaScript. Again, this is also public. which will guide you how you can create an MCP server using JavaScript. I have the demo ready for both. Okay, you can fill it yourself. Let me show you my code. So yeah, coming to my code. So again, I just followed a documentation and I created these files. Uh, this is something which is not in the documentation, restaurant prompts. Okay, so I'll start from again the basics. So first, so it's a .NET application. You have a service class. Let me close this. Yeah, you have a service class which kind of creates your helper methods, kind of a thing, right? Pick random restaurant and all those things. So think of it as a backend class communicating with your database. Okay. uh, Important thing again, related to MCP server and the NuGet packages. So we have restaurant tools class. So here you can see I am using this NuGet package. I give this annotation, and then in my tools, so see this get restaurant. So if you think traditionally, it's nothing but a regular function. You can have get API, think REST API world. Okay, you can have some get API annotations, and you can get the restaurants. It's straightforward. But now with this MCP, we use JSON RPC protocol, so it's very different from REST. And yeah, again, the objective is universal adapter thing. So here you give this annotation MCP server tool and a description. Get a list of all restaurants available for lunch. So now remember my last example. The first prompt was list of monkeys, and it called get monkeys. So someone who has created that MCP server have that kind of a description. Okay, this function is to get a list of monkeys. Now another function was that get monkey journey. So that would have a description. Uh, get the story of a monkey or a journey of a monkey, right? So yes, uh, in the description, you give a meaningful statement. Then you also give that some kind of a input knowledge, right? At restaurant, so you give name. It should receive a name of the restaurant, location, address, the type of food served. And again, this is a tool to pick a random restaurant. So it calls your service, your helper function methods, and then gives the output to the user. So in terms of development, it's very easy. You just have to play with these kind of annotations, right? Now this restaurant prompts, this is something which I develop. It's not a part of at GitHub. So it's again, very straightforward. Like, this is the class which exposes your tools. Similarly, this is the class which exposes your prompts. So what are prompts? These statements, plain English statements, so that a user need to write them again and again here. User can just select it from the list exposed, and they can be consumed. Again, it's just the annotations which you want to play with if you are having that developer kind of a background, right? Descriptions and the annotations. Now, how to run this? Let me just terminal. I will go in the project folder, lunchtime MCP. I'll run this command npx model context protocol inspector.net run. Again, everything is mentioned in that tutorial. If you follow that, you will get to know. So now what it will do is it will run this project, and it will open a MCP inspector for me. So I'll be able to show how that list tool slash list, prompt slash list, those things are made aware. All those things that we saw in my presentation, right? We'll see. Yeah. So this is my MCP inspector. I'll click on connect. Let me see if any message I'm getting. Next, okay, hold on. Let it initialize. Yes, now it is connected. So you can see these tabs like resources, tools, prompts. So currently I do not have any resources in my MCP server. I have prompts, I have tools. So in the prompts, yeah, there's list prompts. So you click on it, and you see these are the prompts coming from annotation, and it uses this prompt slash list, right? uh, Similarly, I have these tools. I'll click on list tools, and these are those functions with the annotations. So let's say the client wants to call this, right? So these are the endpoints which your client does to get the knowledge about MCP, right? So get restaurant. You just come over here, run tool, and it will the MCP server will return this kind of output, and then your client agent backed by LLM will present it in a meaningful format to the user. Let's come over here, and let's see the same in your GHCP client. Okay, I'll come to mcp.json. Again, it's that same mcp.json. Now I have my own MCP server, or type would be stdio.net, and then here the path of your CS project file. I click on start. Now the tool is running. So I will get me the list of restaurants. Yes, so now it has identified that I have some MCP server running, and I'll click on allow. Yes, so it has got that restaurant list from my service, and it's displaying over there. Now let's say how we want to use some predefined prompt. I'll click on prompt. I'll get these, right? So now I'll say that I'll just click on one prompt, see what will happen. So it will ask me. I'll put inserted text. Okay, I'll put which it is asking me for one of the input, then atmosphere. I'll just press enter. So now see what happened in my chat window. So these are the prompts which are predefined in my restaurant prompt with the uh, placeholders was for preferences, your atmosphere. So those preferences are filled, and it knows the available restaurants from the from this service class, and these are the preferences which I filled. I just press enter. So this is one of my predefined prompt, and it will get the result. I need not write that entire big prompt again and again. I can just consume it from the predefined prompt and get the response. Okay, this is the response based on my recommendation. Now, how a similar thing is done in JavaScript. So here is the example. I'll just click on, uh, you know, I'll do this. I'll first show you to in the inspector how that list tools get tools happen, as well as I'll show you here. So again, coming to the code part of it, uh, I have my main.ts file. In it, I have that tool called So again, in C sharp, if you want to add another tool, then just another entry in the in this particular section. Currently, I have just one tool in this, which is tool to get the weather of let it initialize. In the meantime, I'll just disconnect the previously started servers so that it is a bit quicker. Meanwhile, it starts. I'll be able to, I think, showcase you the VS Code. Uh, get me the weather for Hyderabad. Yeah, I'll click on allow. It will come to our JavaScript. It will call this API with the name of the city, and then it will fetch the geocoordinates. It will call another API and present it us with the response. I think one of the server is already yep. So it got the output, and now it will give it to us in a presentable format. I think not. I would have written Hyderabad, India, or something. But yeah, let's see. Yeah. So this is the output in a user readable format with temperature range, condition, humidity, and everything. Right. So that's all from me. If you want to, I know we are short of time, so couldn't have. Otherwise, I would have taken your questions and answers. Thank you for your time. And if you have any queries, just feel free to reach to me on LinkedIn. I would be happy to help. Thank you. Yes, I think we can end the
Okay.
session.
Okay. Okay. Thank you so much, sir, for this session. And thank you, everyone, for joining us for this session. Thank you, sir.
Yeah. Thank you.